The simple act of looking at one's own thoughts, not to control or analyze them, but to observe them directly and without judgment, brings about a change. When we observe thought from the outside, without identifying with it, we see that it is always in motion, always labeling, comparing, and judging. The average person is not aware of this illusion because they have never been told to look in this way. Schools teach us what to think, but not how to observe thought. Society encourages success, accumulation of knowledge, identification with roles and professions, but never to question the fundamental structure of thought that generates all these things. We live within the narrow horizon of fragments because the mind is constantly dividing experience into separate parts, trying to understand and control each of them. In doing so, we lose the sense of wholeness, which is the essence of life. Our thoughts, memories, beliefs, and opinions form a filter through which we perceive the world. And this filter is inevitably limited, fragmented, and superficial. Each of us has an idea of what life is based on our own past, on accumulated experiences and acquired knowledge. This knowledge is only a tiny fraction of what is real, yet we act as if it were the totality. We look at life through the lens of what we know, and thus we only perceive what fits into our limited understanding. The rest, that which we cannot conceive or control, remains out of our reach, so we remain unaware of life in its depth and totality. When we live from these fragments, social roles we play, our desires, ambitions, fears, and expectations, we are trapped in a surface where everything is separate and conflicting. What we feel as individuals, what we desire, what we think we should be, all of this arises as disconnected fragments of the whole. One fragment is concerned with achieving success, another wants emotional security, while yet another is obsessed with resolving inner conflicts. We are divided between what we are and what we want to be, between what we have and what we desire. This division creates hypocrisy and makes us superficial, for there is no integrated understanding of who we are, only fragments trying to overpower each other. Thus we remain unaware of the depth of life, which is unified and indivisible. The mind tries to fill this superficial void with more activities, more distractions, more thoughts, and more desires. But the truth is that none of these fragments can bring about the wholeness we seek, for each represents only a reduced aspect of life. The totality of life cannot be found in the fragment. It reveals itself when the mind, upon perceiving its own limitation, ceases to operate from divisions and prejudices. In this state, the division between observer and observed ceases, and a direct and integrated perception arises. It is a state in which the mind is silent, not in the sense of being inactive, but in the sense of not trying to fragment and categorize experience. In that silence, life can be lived in its depth, not as a series of fragments, but as a continuous and indivisible movement.